And she said, oh, you can't have a boyfriend. We don't allow that. And I wanted to know why. And she said, because it doesn't look right, with the kids. And so I said, I still don't see where they have anything to do with me with a boyfriend. And she said, well, you'll have to get rid of him. You have to make plans to marry him. And I told her I wasn't getting married. I wasn't ready for it. I had just got out of one. And I said, now, look, you're going to tell me, here I am, 37 years old at that time. And I've been married. Got 5 kids here in the home. And had been married to this one man for 16 years. And you're going to tell me I can't have a boyfriend? And so she said, well, we doesn't allow the ADC mothers with boyfriend. And I couldn't understand that. So she left. When she left, well, then she come back to tell me that my case was denied. This is what happened. She come back to tell me that they had denied me, that I could not get on the aid.
You jamming over there? Jamming
for this thing.
Jam. What's going on, people?
Happy Tuesday.
What up?
It is Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday. Yeah. If y'all didn't see what the title was,
welfare.
Nope. Welfare wasn't free, folks.
What are we paying for today?
Yeah. What are we talking about? Well, we're still talking about the effects of certain things. 2 weeks ago we debunked the debunker of welfare causing issues in the black community. The debunker said that black men went out to get cigarettes and cartons of milk and never came back.
Never came home, baby.
Never came home. So
lost their way.
Yeah. Wayward men. So we debunked that. So we're gonna continue on today to talk about welfare and what happened in our community due to welfare, the unintended issues that came about because of welfare in the 60s. That's where this clip came from, Hezekiah News. I have several clips. Like, go over this channel. He has a bunch of content, from the past. Just a bunch of stuff, like the ghettos and Watts and the ghettos in New York, Yonkers, or whatever. Different stuff, white and black stuff during the 60s. What was going on during the 60s?
Did the audience see that clip you played the first?
Yeah, they saw the beginning of it. Yeah, I'm gonna replay it though. Just wanted to give them a little context on what's going on. Yeah, what's popping up in here. But yeah, we're gonna go to the first video. And it's gonna talk about this video is actually in 1967. This is right when this is right before King died. And what's going on in here, they're having a revolt because y'all not paying us enough for welfare, so they want to get up in arms,
Right.
They want a living wage to
they want you to come down there and pick the check up. Come on, man.
Give it to us. Give us the money. So let's see what this is about. I don't even remember what the clips are, actually. I cut it up and whatever a couple weeks ago.
Away from here, I ain't gonna come back no more.
Welfare mothers, and the children too, feel that they are on a dead-end street. That the way things are, there's not enough money and no way to hold up your head. And so they've begun what amounts to a welfare revolt.
You look on TV and you see that poor little kid
from another nation. Oh, he looks so pitiful. I feel so sorry for him. But I can't overlook the fact that we have poor little kids in this nation.
Mrs. Etta Horn is a leader of the welfare rights movement. Their principle and their overwhelming complaint is that there simply is not enough money to raise a family, and then that it's given in a self-defeating and self-perpetuating way, that it degrades the people who receive it.
I have children. I look in my kids' face, and I think, am I going to really prove to them where it starts at? You know, they're always screaming about delinquents. American Welfare Department makes delinquents.
There is an evil system around.
Martin Luther King believes that welfare is part of that system, damaging to black and white alike.
Will not get right until this evil system is removed, because as I have listened and as I've looked and as I've lived in the ghetto, I've seen what this evil system has done to my brothers and my sisters. I've seen how it has left little children with clouds of inferiority formed in their little mental sky. I've seen how this evil system has transformed nice, decent young women into prostitutes. I've seen how this system has transformed nice, decent young men into dope addicts trying to escape the ugliness of their daily life.
Okay, so what do you think?
I was kind of shocked when it came back to him. I was like, well, I know those people, but it's interesting. I think what Martin is saying is very accurate. I think a lot of people didn't agree with some of the stuff he was talking about because it wasn't always like pro-black or a lot of times he was very inclusive as to who were being affected by whatever issue. But just based on that clip, I agree. I think I agree. I think he's going down the road of how welfare kind of it plays a dirty little trick on you. What you got?
So I mean, and this is me talking 2022 me, right?
Okay.
Me back there probably wouldn't be saying this shit right now. I'm about to say, but at some point, like they was having 5, 6, 10 kids on the system, So I'm complaining about something
that you are integrating yourself into.
You putting yourself deeper and deeper into the system.
I agree, but that's kind of, I think that's what he was getting at is, this is this kind of what you get when you and I don't know because that was just a snippet of what he was talking about, but I'm thinking he's like when you start to hand things out to people, they kind of it becomes ingrained in them, and then now they try to live whatever life they choose to live off of it, and then wonder why I won't keep up with what they're doing. Like you said, I think the lady said she had 5 kids.
Yeah, and I was speaking to her, not about Martin.
Okay.
I was speaking about her.
Okay.
Demanding.
Right.
I'm going to demand, more money.
Well, when you're like I said, when it's ingrained in you, then it kind of this is mine. This is kind of it's an entitlement at that point. And I need, I'm thinking about having a couple more. So, how they gonna eat on this penance?
These pennies a day. They give the people in Africa quarters a day. What the?
They get
quarters. They giving us pennies.
You know what? But I'm gonna say this on that first. The reason I asked if the audience saw it was because that lady had her teeth not been missing. No, seriously, she did not look like that. She was that old. She looked like she might have been 37.
Yeah, she thinks she's 30 something. Yeah, no 30.
But no,
she did say 30.
She said 37. She said when I was 37. So she was speaking that in the past.
Yeah, maybe she was 40.
She didn't look that old, but until I was like, why? But no, I was just like, man, she lived a stress-free life, man. She was, except for her dental hygiene,
front teeth, free life too,
Right, she got rid of them long time. They decided to leave a long time ago. They tired of this welfare shit.
We better than this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's the initial thing. We gonna, like I said, I'm gonna go back to that clip because I have something else to talk about on that clip.
Okay.
But the initial thing is that you're part of a system and you keep putting yourself into that system deeper and deeper, which is what we kind of see today, the lack of accountability for my own actions. So and this is 67, which is 55 years ago.
Ain't nothing new. Ain't nothing new on the sun. But like you said, they're digging deeper into a system that they're complaining about. But they double down on them.
Yeah. So let's go.
Let's see
what the next one. Let's see what we've got right here.
The premise of the ADC program is simple: that children without visible means of support must be aided by the state. But to be eligible, a mother and her children must be without a man in the house.
Okay, so this goes back to what we were saying 2 weeks ago, right?
There's a bunch.
So if you had children, you had to get on the system. They say, let's run it back.
The premise of the ADC program is simple: that children without visible means of support must be aided by the state. But to be eligible, a mother and her children must be without a man in the house.
They say must be aided by the state.
That it must be. So they made it that you had to be, and in order to get this money,
you couldn't
have a man in the house. So
dude in there.
That's part of what was going on. This is a Caucasian woman that they're talking about was doing the same thing. It was on the system, and she couldn't have a man around. So it just wasn't a black community that happened to. But I think because where we came from, already behind the 8 ball with slavery, they let us go, and it's like, all right, we didn't understand money, we didn't understand anything,
just basic sociology, just integrating into society. That was, I mean, you even see it today, how a lot of people in the black community, I say a lot, how people in the black community don't even assimilate to just what a lot of people would consider maybe normal activities or whatever.
Societal norms.
Yeah. So it's you playing the game without the rule book. So you trying to figure out, why I can't go past why I can't cross the street on red? Why is that jaywalking?
And I think in the black community, like, we do this over and over and over again. Like, every generation we do the same thing to where we don't get. Right now, I want to say we more educated towards different stuff. We more focused on finances, multiple streams of income, and different stuff like that.
Right.
But this is the first generation, I think, that we are actually doing all this stuff, sharing knowledge and all that. And it's greatly due to social media, which is one of the plus sides.
I was going to say, so you say social media. I'm going to say the internet period, the information age. That was always the big divide. But like you said, we keep repeating it because I would turn on, I used to love some Good Times, and they still rerun it. And you turn it on, and I'd be damned if they don't sound just like the people today. With all the, I mean, it's word for word, and I'm like, well, that was 40 plus years ago. They talking the same talk about the president, and I mean, jobs, gas, everything. So it almost seemed like it almost seemed like a script or like
we stuck in a loop.
There you
stuck
go.
In a loop.
We got the same talking points for the last 50 years, and nobody's been trying to break out of that until now. I think now people are actually going in different ways with a lot of stuff. I'll elaborate on that a little later, but it's like a self-perpetuating loop that we're stuck in the black community. See what the next one's talking about. Weeping and crying for someone to love.
In Cleveland and elsewhere, very little economic incentive exists for women to get off welfare.
They would like for you to go out and go to work, or even seek part-time employment. But if you do this, then most of what you make is taken away from you.
They receive only a small part of the extra income if they work. The jobs which they can get rarely offer very much more money than the welfare check itself. In a pilot project in Cleveland, they are allowed to keep only enough to bring them up to the state's welfare minimum. They are encouraged to go to school and get training, but even after training, good jobs are scarce. Beverly Siegel, a Cleveland social worker, visits Mrs. Fanny Brooks, who has left a Title V job training program to care for her children.
One thing I wanted to talk to you about today is the fact that you'll be going off of the training program. And now that you're going back onto ADC alone, it will be cut back, to regular ADC, which will be $92 difference. And that's quite a bit of difference. And it's going to be difficult, I imagine, to get used to living on that type of budget again.
Yes, it will be. But I would rather have a small amount and have peace and happiness and harmony in my home than have a lot of difficulties and different problems. I didn't choose this position that I'm in, and I wouldn't want my kids to do it for nothing in the world.
Nah, I mean, it's just like you say, the lack of self-awareness is unbelievable. Okay. Go ahead, bro.
$92. Like we're gonna take you out of training.
Mhm.
There's no work. They know they don't have any work for them. Right?
Mhm.
And this is the thing that people, when they talk about how men that left the households and stuff, they fail to realize that there was no work. So hold on one second. We have comments. Yeah, there was no work. So welcome back, brother. So you want women outside the house? I didn't say that, but
Let me see what you're reading.
So you want women outside the house and working? You don't see it?
It's it's highlighted. I couldn't
you
see
couldn't
it.
see it.
Okay.
Mothers,
not necessarily.
I mean mothers.
I think no, I would much prefer the mothers be home, but
yeah.
but unfortunately, it wasn't nobody else there to work. It's I always wondered. So no, to your answer, no, that's not what I'm looking for. I was much prefer mothers to be at home with the children and help nurture and raise them. But I always wonder what would have happened had they gave people a time limit, like say 3 or 4 years, where you can work, you can make as much money as you want outside of along with your welfare, and just know that okay, in 3 years we taking this away, because that could give you with the right information as far as financial management and things like that. That could give you the ability to be able to put money aside and actually, get beyond where you are. But it was never that. It was always like it's almost like you were being penalized if you did want to go out there and do more for yourself. That's what I got from this lady just now, when she was like, I'd rather have a little bit with peace and quiet, which I'm thinking what she's saying with peace and quiet is
a man. That's what I thought she was talking about.
I thought she was talking about I don't have to do nothing. I'm just kind of chilling versus
okay.
having a lot with all this chaos, which means going to work. Yeah, I'm working, I'm making more money, but now I got to get up every day. I got that's what I got from it. So
it's possible. Yeah, that's very possible. The whole fact that this was not, at this point, I don't think it was more of a racist thing. I think it was a classist thing, like classism. It's like, we need this lower class to be where the lower class is at. We can't let them get above a certain level or we're going to have issues. So I think it's more of a classism thing. But what ended up happening is that they knew that if a man was going to come in the household along with this, they were going to add more to the household.
Definitely. Well, yeah, they're going to add to it. But I think that, I think this is one of them unintended consequences too, that they were trying to make sure that a man wasn't laying around receiving government funding and not doing nothing. So
and also think about this: they couldn't control the man because the man had ways to get money probably outside the house. So you can't. I mean, I can't put sanctions on a man if he get out there.
He can go out there. He can go out there and find ways to make money that you won't be able to detect.
And back then, women, hey, we could track them. They had to be with kids. That we could keep them under a certain under our thumb, so to speak.
I could say under our thumb.
Yeah, under our thumb, so to speak. So, nobody's gonna get nobody's gonna get what we don't want to get, basically. So, I think that's more, like you said, is unintended situation, but it was definitely the control.
Absolutely. How if you've already allocated a certain amount of money to a certain amount of individuals for a certain amount of time, because they have a yearly budget that they always follow, what would be the harm in allowing them to keep getting this money while they working? That when they want to do better. You know, of course they know it gets cut off whenever, but I don't see the problem in that. But I always wonder what would be the outcome had that taken place versus you being pretty much isolated to like you know, we'll give you this, but this is all you can have, you know, unless you want to go out there in that cold world out there and actually
and do something.
actually do something. So I'm just that was always a wonder of mine.
I don't know, because the whole thing was that, and I've always thought of this way until it happened and I saw what people did. But back then I would have thought that, you know, you would take care of our kids. You know, back then it's more family orientated, so they get more money. Okay, yeah, my kids gonna have nice clothes because they, you know, you have Gucci and Louis back. You know,
nobody sweating that. They had it, but not for. And you never saw it. You didn't know it existed.
Yeah, you didn't know it existed. But black folk wasn't doing that. What I'm trying to say.
Right.
But you know, hey, shoes for my kids' feet, you know, clothes on my kids' back, you know, food in their stomach to go to school, do what they had to do.
Right.
Back then, if you realize, some of the kids had to get out of school just to help work, just to help out. You know, they wouldn't complete the school. So I think what you're talking about, they probably wouldn't have been a lot of kids that would have had to leave school and help out with the family. They could have went to school and completed education. It might have jump started us maybe 10 to 15 years.
My dad, it was the opposite. He's from Alabama. They made him go to school because his dad had him at home plowing fields and you know, getting the farm ready. So the state of Alabama told him, no, he can't do that no more. Because all his brothers, I want to say they did that up until a certain point. But I'm trying to think. I think when he was I can't remember how old he was, but they made him go to school.
And that's probably during the 60s. What I'm talking about is before this era,
right?
When the kids was getting out of, they took the kids out of school. It might have been the 50s or something like that. But yeah, I mean, I think we would have been further along, and it catapulted us maybe 10 or 15 years.
That's what I want to believe, but you know, it's no way to, you know.
Yeah, it's
no way to know.
Speculations, and let's see what the next one got.
Many of our young girls would like to work, and they have tried. They really have tried to support their family, but the system and everything else just tears them down, and eventually they just become satisfied with welfare. They don't try anymore because they see there's no sense of trying until this whole system has changed.
Jeanette Salters, a welfare mother, works in Head Start and receives a small supplement to her check.
You know, people talk about the ADC mothers don't want anything, and they're not going to ever get anything. This is the same feeling that they have. They have tried and they want jobs, but nobody's going to give them a job. And the first thing they holler, well, you on ADC, you know, and you don't have any experience. And how can you have experience when you're just coming out of school? And nobody's willing to try, you know, to give them a chance. And I'm beginning to believe, and so are most of the parents, that people want you on ADC. They like you there. You know, they can control you on ADC. And a lot of them just feel, well, I might as well sit here and get what I can. And they do have to cheat and lie and steal and to try to beat the system and try to just survive, not really live. Most of them are just surviving.
Welfare departments claim that they want to encourage marriage and thus get women off the welfare rolls. But the investigation of a woman's eligibility for ADC discourages the beginning of any relationship with a man and marriage.
Well, if he's someone who is sincerely interested in you, you would like perhaps to invite him to dinner. You would like to, maybe he would like to spend the day with you. And if this happens, and you have a neighbor who particularly don't care for you, then the welfare department will hear about it, and then they suppose that this man is living there, or that you are supporting him out of your funds, you're feeding him with your funds. Or if you claim you're not feeding him out of your funds, then their answer will be, then he's giving you money.
Yeah, that's kind of about what I was hitting on. You know, they don't want to look like they're supporting a able-bodied male off the state's the state's money.
So we're gonna get into your boo thing, the one, you know, the woman you like. I'm gonna go ahead and play that one because they have at the end.
Right.
Yeah.
Listen to her words carefully. I think she say 37 in the past, which makes me think she's like a lot, not a lot, but older. I'm like, where your teeth at? I mean, but you know,
Hey, we know how she makes extra money.
Yeah, like Two Faces.
And she said, oh, you can't have a boyfriend. We don't allow that. And I wanted to know why. And she said, because it doesn't look right, with the kids. And so I said, I still don't see where they have anything to do with me with a boyfriend. And she said, well, you'll have to get rid of him. You have to make plans to marry him. And I told her I wasn't getting married. I wasn't ready for it. I had just got out of one. And I said, now look, you're going to tell me, here I am, 37 years old at that time. And I've been married. Got 5 kids here in the home, and has been married to this one man for 16 years, and you're going to tell me I can't have a boyfriend? And so she said, well, we doesn't allow the ADC mothers with boyfriend. And I couldn't understand that. So she left. When she left, well, then she come back to tell me that my case was denied. This is what happened. She come back to tell me that they had denied me, that I could not get on the aid.
If a man marries you, that he should, take on the initiative of supporting your family. And, to tell a man that makes, $125, $135 a week, that he should accept me and 9 kids and support us is crazy. Because, realistically, I would feel that if I married a man in this position, that, it wouldn't take but maybe 6 months. If it took that long, he would begin to resent my kids. He would hate me, he would beat me, and he'd scream at the kids. He'd start beating the kids out of frustration. And, maybe it wouldn't be because he didn't love me and the kids, but because he was, being deprived of, just having, a pair of shoes on his feet and proper food for himself, for kids that he wasn't responsible for. And this is, thinking realistically.
Yeah. 9 kids.
I thought that was something new age.
No,
they didn't play no games back in the 60s, man.
No. And if you hear some of the same stuff today that she was saying, right? The last lady, the beatings and stuff. Yeah. He'll beat us, and it's like nothing has happened, but
that's
you're
the assumption.
This assumption that that's what's gonna happen because I have these 9 kids, and he's gonna have to take on these 9 kids, and it's I wish I would have heard like more of a story, like how you get 9 kids, and did they come from the same father? All this other stuff. I'm gonna answer this question, real quick. Do you still support banning CRT? Now it's being used to ban learning about you. I don't support banning CRT. I don't support that. The reason why I'm kind of doing this also is because in America we were taught a bunch of lies. And people are going over these lies, and that's why I think we're like we said, we're in this loop, this cycles, because people are going off of lies. They don't understand. Just like this whole thing about men willingly leaving the house, in mass, and that's why women had the issues they have is not true. This was policy. As I'm showing here, it was policy, and men had to go, or their families would go hungry. So I'm sure some men did it, out of necessity, but. I'm also sure that it was they didn't have no other choice.
I think after you do something for so long, you become ingrained. So now it was just a normal. Well, you can't. You can just stop by there, or she can stop by. It won't be no shacking up.
Then they stopped that.
Yeah, won't be there. So you just go over there and catch her wherever, and y'all act like grown-ups for a minute. And
Yeah. So to answer your question, I support the CRT movement. I think that. We need to learn the real history in America. So both people of color and Caucasians and whatever. No, not you. Yeah. He act like a white man. Just so, people of color and, everybody could know the truth. So when it comes down to interpersonal relationships with each other, you got some people that's in places that don't really see black people like that. So they believe whatever they see on TV. Yeah. So they believe whatever somebody said about black people, about Hispanics and everything else, and that's their reality. But if you learn this in school, their parents might still think what they think, but the kids coming up will know the truth, and maybe they even teach their parents. I said this during the show before. Maybe you go back teach their parents or whatever. But I think it's very important that we change these history books, and we have CRT.
I was having a conversation this weekend about history, and I'm just you know, I never been like, okay, so this is Women's History Month, right? Or women's something like that.
Women's,
And I just never been a fan of them isolating histories. You know, I think it's more of a propaganda and kind of a, you know,
to sell merchandise and stuff. Yeah,
exactly. When in reality, we are history. We're not a section of history that's we're gonna just cover in March. We are history, but the people who've been writing history as far as educational purposes go have been leaving out a lot. And you know, some of it is because you can only put so much stuff in the book, but the other thing is because this is what we want you to know about this country or whatever the case may be.
We want to paint this country in the best light possible. Basically.
Whoever's educating you, they're going to teach you what they want you to know. You know, nothing short of that. So I got to thank the internet for that. Boy, you can go out there and find some stuff.
And could you like expound on that question? How did they not have a choice? I'm not sure what you're asking about. But we're gonna go while you're doing that. We're gonna go to the next video.
Mrs. Patricia Schiller is a clinical psychologist. She directs the conversation toward future plans and prospects.
Well, I've got a job. I'm going for an interview today, and I filed for support from the father in the court. And it should be coming through by the time I get back in school in September.
For a long time, I was under the firm belief that no one really has any excuse for being on public assistance. But when my grandparents and my father found out I was pregnant, their first attitude was, we aren't going to do anything for you. And my grandmother told me from the beginning, you may not bring this baby into my house. Now, she has responsibility for me until I'm 18 years old. I talked to my social worker here at school, and I have talked to people down at child welfare. And it's being made possible right now for my baby's born in September for me to put that child in a foster home and to visit it. And they'll take care of it until after I finish the 12th grade, and I'll be 18, I'll be on my own, and then I can provide for my child in my own way. And therefore, I think that it can be a good program.
When a girl drops out before completing her high school education, she finds it difficult to get a job to take care of the baby. In many instances, this would force a girl to go on public welfare. If she gets
Mrs. Fabola Gill is the school's principal.
Which is terrible, and there doesn't seem to be any way out of this for me, she is likely to have another out-of-wedlock child, and as the babies continue coming, she gets farther and farther down into her state of depression.
So, I was just laughing just to let y'all know. the young lady that was sitting there like she's reading her eyelids the whole time, and then she's around say, "Oh, I'm through." But to answer your question, the question is, I mean, fathers who leave their wives and families did not have a choice. Well,
I don't think they had wives. I mean, they had families, but it wasn't any wives involved. So
no, it was wives.
So yeah, I mean, well, you could. Well, the reason I say that is because this is mostly single mothers they're talking about. They're not talking about like if you were married, you weren't getting this.
But they had to leave.
What do you mean they had to leave? Hold on, I'm confused.
They had to leave the house in order to get.
So you trying to tell me a married man to his wife would be like they say, nah, dude, you got to. Well, you know, we know you in happy matrimony, but you would have to leave the house.
So it's. I think we're gonna see that in another clip. I don't recall because I cut this, like I said, up like last week or something like that. So we're might see another clip where they say. So the reason why they had to leave was because in order to get the aid, they couldn't have a man in the house. So when it comes to me being in the house with my wife or my kids eating, I mean, what you gonna do?
Oh my God!
And the whole thing was there wasn't jobs like that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into it. But I thought that was strictly for the single moms. Like you can't have no baby daddies up in here. So
they couldn't. That's why the defaults left.
Well, I know they couldn't have no baby daddies, but I mean, like married families, they require a married family to separate in order to receive state aid.
Well, no, I don't think they required. What happened was that, he left us here.
Oh,
so there was a show back in the 70s, Claudine or something like that. I can't remember.
Sound like some ethnic.
Yes, it's ethnic. Claudine, and it was where, and that was, they weren't married, but
Claudine.
They weren't married, but it was her boyfriend, and he had to leave when they would sneak him in and out.
I do know that. Yeah, you couldn't have no side piece up in that thing. You couldn't have no. You had to be married or you can't be married.
Yes, 1974 film. Claudine. That's the name of Claudine. So yeah. So like I said, we'll see in the clip coming up, I think. And it's they were saying whether when it comes down to feeding your family or the man being in the household,
or seeing your family. Well, I guess.
And they used to sneak.
See y'all later.
Yes, see you later. Got Daddy gotta go. Daddy gotta go. So yeah, let's go on the next clip because I think it's coming up.
Not necessarily.
Many of the girls who go on welfare never graduate from high school. A girl who gets pregnant in most high schools is automatically expelled. Usually she doesn't come back. She's on her way to a lifetime of dependence on welfare. The Webster School in Washington, D.C. is a high school for pregnant girls. A psychotherapy session is a weekly part of the curriculum.
When I first found out that I had become pregnant, and when I found out that there was this school called Webster, I thought that I was going to be shut out away from the other people and that I was going to be an outcast. But when I came into Webster, it seems that I had more what you would say, people on my side, more attention going towards my way. And with the help of Miss Gill, and then with the help of some of my good friends here, I seem to be making it and all.
And being here with these girls, they are closer to you. I think that all of us are closer together than girls that have not been pregnant, because they all have their opinions and they can easily say things. But we have, we're all going through the experience.
Okay, so okay. That clip, does anything stand out to you in that clip what they're talking about?
Let me see. For me, well, I ain't gonna say nothing necessarily stands out. Is they made it how can I say, I don't want to say made it comfortable or normal, but you can even see it. I can see it in their faces that they felt, as though what they're doing wasn't that bad. And I'm using bad in terms of not human life bad, but in terms of I'm assuming they had to all be under 18 or something at the time, and you get to be somebody's mother, which is a very heavy thing. That's a real thing, and I think they need to put the proper weight on it, because you can tell they felt a sigh of relief, and I can understand feeling that sigh of relief if you think you're being like ostracized or out, somebody's looking down on you, but at the same time you need to understand that this is gearing to get super, super real, But what stood out for you?
So the thing that stood out for me, they was talking about how they got attention and how they were able to have some kind of sisterhood or bond.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like outside you don't have this. So I was saying, it looks that these young ladies will have another child because it's something they're missing. It's not about the child.
Okay.
Their point is about they felt protected in this space.
See, that's kind of what I was getting at when I was like they nobody looked down upon what they were doing in this area, so it kind of felt like it's okay. You had a baby, and it's versus okay, we're not gonna treat you like second-class citizens, but you need to be very thoughtful in your next step before you have any more kids. Whereas it looks like it was a lot easier now. Oh man, why not have another child? Or like you said about the attention part, looking for something outside of themselves to, I guess, to make them whole. I don't know.
Because think about going back home with this baby, and all of a sudden, this is all on you now. This is all on you, and now you got your mom and them, and talking whatever they talking, and it's like, I need to get back somewhere where I could be,
like, get out my house,
some reprieves, monkey off my back.
Go over here to the Webster School. What's with your sister?
Oh, my sister, she's out living life. You know what? Actually, I'm doing a live in 2 days. On Thursday, I'm doing a live. It's a good segue because I was gonna say that at some point. And it's with a female panel, and we're talking about the black family, and the name of it is I Can Do Bad by Myself, and it's just talking about the black women and how they look at men, view men, and
Where you gonna do the panel at? I mean, where you gonna do it on what? What you gonna do the live on?
here.
Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna be on that. Actually, this was gonna be on Facebook. It's gonna be YouTube and Twitch. So
how you tune in?
I'll send the information. Matter of fact,
I'm trying to. What time you getting started?
It'll be starting at 8 o'clock, the same time this time.
Man, y'all early. I need y'all to start about like adult hours.
I'm sorry. For right now, we're not doing any more lives. For right now, we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about it. For right now, we taking a break on the Sunday lives. So let's get back in. God damn it! I didn't change the
font.
Yeah, now I didn't change the size of the damn. What you call them? And
the screen bigger. Look at that.
There you go. Yeah, I don't need the screen to be bigger. I know what I look like.
Right, I know what
All
I
right,
know.
here we go. Next video.
That's why it's so funny when we pop back.
And it begins again. Brenda is 19, unmarried, and she has just had a baby. She's learning to care for him on her own. She's trying to get a job to support him, and she lives with her aunt, who has 5 children of her own. Money was the reason she decided not to marry Kenneth, the father of her child.
I mean, I would have married him, while I was carrying the baby, but he had no job and couldn't support us, and no sense in getting married. Wasn't no sense in getting married, so I said, wait. I plan on marrying him next year, no sooner than next year. Have to give him time to work first. I mean, what's the sense of marrying somebody if he can't support you? That's his job to support you and the baby, not my job to support him and the baby. So after he start working, work more than he been working, then I'll marry him. And I think he's able to take care of 2.
She's so matter of fact. That was it. But you heard it clearly out of her mouth. What's the sense of marrying him if he can't support us? Because she know if she married him, they don't get into that support.
It was incentivized not to marry anybody.
Absolutely, and she's using the basic math equations as logic. Where you got very little income compared to a little bit more income. But I got to go through this process just to keep this very little income and get none of this. I'm going with this. Maybe pretty much you say when they get his shit together, then maybe we could talk about marriage in at least a year. I guess it's gonna take him at least that long to outperform the ADC benefits.
But in the meantime, well, not really, because there wasn't really jobs. They said it. There wasn't really that many jobs. But in the meantime, he's out there with other women.
Probably got a couple more.
Yeah,
they probably own here.
Yeah. Possibly. But yeah, and I don't know about the option of abortion. I don't know if that was actually frowned upon, or how they looked at abortion, because society plays a part on what moves people make in their lives.
They had, I think then, and I'm strictly recalling off of memory, it was a lot of what they call underground abortions.
Yeah, hangers and stuff, and drinking solutions.
Your mama, performed it, somewhere other than, and nobody knew, So I don't think abortion was very mainstream then, like it is now. Now it's kind of.
But even at that, right? This is right. And I can't remember when this started. Like at some point, it used to be, hey, you need to get married first and then have a baby. And if you got a baby, it was shotgun weddings. Nah, you're gonna marry her. So at some point, and I want to say, I want to say because of welfare, because of the movement that women, we could do this, and we don't want we want to deal with this foolishness, and also like old girl said, getting beat and all that stuff. All this stuff was going on at the same time. They, that was in their perception and reality.
Right. She wasn't getting beat, y'all. She just perceived that what would happen if she let a man come into her home with her 9 kids. So, but I forgot what I was about to say. But pretty much like marriage was it wasn't a thing of how we treat it today. Like it's supposed to be magical.
Yeah,
and
love, yeah.
What love or whatever, fairy tale. It was a way of life. It's how you get ahead, you know, especially if you want to have a family, and it's how you create a legacy. But
and we understood that back then. Back then, we understood the reason for marriage.
But on here, because when she talked about marrying that guy, she never said, you know, yeah, because I love him, you know, to death. She never mentioned love at all. She was just like, he can't take care of me.
Take care of being this kid.
You know, he could take care of 2 more. Then I think about it. But you said something that stuck out of my head. I can't remember. Maybe I'll remember in a little bit. But go ahead.
They ain't gonna give but a handful of crumbs to a mother. What do you think the young teenager gonna do? You know, why do you think that's down here on Huff? You know, because when it gets dark, they have to go out here and survive.
This is survival and escape in Huff. Music, movement, and this moment. But in the morning, no job that will pay a living wage.
But it made me think about what I was going to say.
Good.
I was thinking we were dealing with something new, you know, the last 20 years, but it seems like it's been going on for some time. So, you know, it had nothing changed but the date.
No, it's a repeat. And that's what people do not understand. There's nothing new under the sun. Internet and, Web 3.0 that's coming, and virtual reality and metaverse, that's new. But the way people interact with people have been this way since centuries.
It's gonna be the same on the metaverse.
They're gonna do the same on the metaverse. It's just using
a dragon character.
Different characters. Furries and stuff.
Furries, right.
But
butterflies.
As I noticed in that clip is that there was no supervision.
No, it was like babies in there.
There's babies. They're teenagers and babies. So there's no supervision. And we got the mothers. It was no work. People weren't working. Mothers on welfare, but they're not watching their kids. So this breeds an environment of having more kids, teenage pregnancies.
Well, they had to get their boyfriend over there.
I guess so. Yeah.
Like y'all going down to the Huff.
I need my itch scratch, mama. Mama don't feel good. Somebody come look at
I need a couple hours to myself. But it's the dancing, everything. Nothing is new. So it just I thought this was something somebody made it black and white and was actually color. Like, let's put black and white on to make it feel nostalgic. Make it look like it's from the 60s.
No, those dances definitely was back there.
I don't know. It depends on where you go, man.
But this is once again. And this is in, the projects. This is, low income areas. We see the same stuff. We see drugs. We see just partying all the time. Nobody's trying to get ahead.
Like the lack of supervision. I remember, I think something like this just happened not too long ago, but I remember this young man got hit on his bicycle, riding his bicycle. I think he was 9 or 10 years old. But he got hit like at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And you know, I hate that it happened, but I mean, that could have been avoided.
Outside.
Yeah, why? A 10-year-old out riding his bike at 3 o'clock in the morning. It could have been avoided. But yeah, it's a lot of the same things I'm seeing that go on today. You pointed it out so eloquently. Where's the supervision?
No supervision. None.
Got this little 3-year-old down here with her tube top on at the huff, just boom, 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 boom.
Doing a twist in the damn
with grown men.
The washing machine, whatever you call
it.
Exactly. Whatever you call it. Moving along. We'll move next one.
Growing up without enough money is hard enough. But there are other cold realities about growing up on ADC. Welfare kids usually live in neighborhoods like Cleveland's Huff. They can see the results of violence, even murder, around their own homes. And they must learn to live with it.
Hate to see these second generations of welfare coming up. And one of the things I think is more crucial to is the youth that's in the ghetto. Because most of the youth that's coming up, they're ashamed to tell their buddies, who say, well, yeah, we on welfare, we getting ADC or food stamps and things like this here.
Everybody in my whole neighborhood was on relief. We just running around and kid about it. Because everybody in my neighborhood was on relief, but I was ashamed to go out my neighborhood and tell somebody I was on ADC. Yeah, I'm ashamed of it.
So actually, what he just said was the difference between then and now. Because back then, they was ashamed that, to have food stamps and everything. You kind of tried to hide it.
It was shameful 20 years ago. It was shameful, but now it's a badge.
Let me get my SNAP card and my damn whatever they call that stuff.
People bragging about it. They got so much money now. They
sell
it.
They can sell them. Yeah.
I got too much food at home. Let me let me see if I can get some cash to go along with these stamps.
But the beginning of that, that's one of the downfalls of single parent homes, right? Is that you don't have enough money to get your children out of certain environments.
Right.
You have plenty. You have a few kids, and you're in a certain environment to where they're surrounded by just different stuff. I'm not bad influences that can actually imprint on your children. That your children fall into the cycle, and they can't get out of it.
It's a very hard cycle to break. I see it like in my own family. So I know, it's if you don't make a conscious effort to avoid it, you will fall victim to it.
Yeah, he said it's still shameful, and most people on welfare and happy about it. And I mean,
I'm not gonna say they're happy, but they're content.
They're content, but some of them are because they're getting over. Think about it. Some people are just getting over.
A lot of people are getting over. When you have enough money left over, I've heard some astronomical amounts of food stamp people have. I mean, I budget every month. Right, I budget every month for my family, and I've never budgeted that much. And it's a family of 4 for to eat. And I'm like, you can't eat all that food. I mean, you at a point now where you got to now you're getting resourceful. Like I should be able to do something with all this money. Well, not really money, but let me turn it into money. And that's when people start selling them. So it's now being bastardized. Now it's big money to be made by government and everybody else to to have people on here for extended amounts of time.
Okay. No, he said he meant most people on welfare aren't proud of it.
Okay.
It depends on where you at. I don't know where you're at. I mean, it depends. It depends on the people.
I see what you say. Or not.
Yeah. Maybe come through. So now we're gonna jump eras. So that was 67.
Let's leave that behind.
Now we're headed on to the future. We're headed on to 73, if I'm not mistaken. Is this 73? I don't know.
It's in color. So
yeah, it's in color. Yeah, Technicolor.
So we're gonna say
Technicolor.
We know it's in the early 70s.
Yeah, it's 73. That's what it is. It's 73. So we had it.
Because family planning measures have lagged, there are many teenage mothers.
Do you find that there is an incidence of young girls becoming pregnant?
Yes, we have a high rate of that too.
At about what age?
Well, I used to say age 14, but I'm having to back up and say age 12.
Nothing new, bro.
No, it's
14.
Yes,
they might have had us beat.
Yeah.
And she said, "Go back to 12.
Go back to 12." And if you remember, like this still wasn't new because back in the day they were getting pregnant at 13 or whatever, and they'd be married at 13.
Well, I was gonna say, but they were under somebody's authority. They were in, it was a head of that household, and he had to provide. He wasn't able to do that and just be like, you know what, I'm just gonna chill on,
They're not that because they falls in the house. Dad to come get your ass, snatch a knot in your ass if you had his daughter over there and wasn't providing. So that's the difference.
Knocking her up,
Like what you hear women say today, right? About the men from the old days. Men today ain't like the men from the old days. Well, it's kind of because they had fathers in there that would make the men become men. Not just their own sons, but they'll make it to where you as a woman would have to vet your men through this man that's over you, that's coveted you in the house and everything else, and then this man coming to him couldn't be whatever because he had consequences he would face.
I like how you said he had to make a man has to make him into a man. Iron sharpens iron.
Yeah, iron sharpens iron.
And we don't have. Unfortunately, the men not here anymore to sharpen other iron. You can only sharpen so much iron by yourself. But I like how you threw that in there because that's definitely needed.
We're going to go to the next one. I can't remember what this one is.
I think that if children are deprived of the things they need, both physically and psychologically at a young age, that there comes a point in which they cannot be redeemed. And I would use that word redeemed in all of its psychological and spiritual implications. They become hopelessly thwarted, stymied, atrophied. The heart dies, the mind becomes filled with all of the hate or fear the child has experienced, and multiply this child by many child, and we have many sins. And multiply this enough, and I think you have national sins, not just the individual sins that we all commit from day to day, but a national failure of determination, an ethical failure, and in many respects, a slow kind of suicide in which one generation permits another generation in significant numbers to be hurt and killed, I would say, in spirit.
So this is part of the 73 clip, and it's looking at the welfare and what happens to children in the welfare system. And like you were saying, kids become stymied, like you atrophy. Basically, they atrophy, be mentally, sometimes physically. They don't have enough food or whatever, but mentally, emotionally, they become, stagnated.
I think I couldn't agree with Tim more. I was having a conversation about this, that when you constantly providing, and then you provide at such a low level, you destroy the human spirit to do anything outside of that. So it becomes ingrained in you, and you think this is all you are good for. Stymied, mentally stymied. But I couldn't agree with him more. You definitely kill the human spirit doing with these programs, and that's kind of what I thought Martin was talking about when he was talking earlier. But yeah, it definitely it keeps you in a certain place, because you almost feel like you're trapped. You're like, well, if I leave here, I'm gonna lose just a little bit that I got. So mentally you just start to regress, and you stay right there where you are. You refuse to go anywhere outside of there because you don't know what's out there waiting for you. You got a guaranteed very little something here. I'm not gonna call it nothing, but a very little amount.
And what ends up happening really is that you really don't stay still, because you feel you're staying still, but eventually life happens, time happens, and whatever, and then you're below. You're below at this point, because things change around you. You're still in the same place. So that's the downside of like welfare, getting handouts, even like I have a big pet peeve about like spoiling your kids, like giving your kids everything. That's one of the reasons why I've seen so many people growing up that has been that way, and they don't. They get in adulthood, they just don't get it. Like they just,
you can't get it.
You know,
you can't get it. I told you before I came here, we had that round table, and you know, it got kind of emotional in there, and I was explaining that the reason I teach the way I do or lead the way I do by letting you fall is because that's where I have my greatest successes in my failures. You have to learn how to achieve, certain things. Because if you don't, like you said, you so used to somebody giving you something, you don't know how to do anything when they're no longer there to give you anything. So yeah, you gotta teach them how to what they say, teach them how to hunt.
Yeah, teach them how to fish.
Teach them how
instead
to
of
fish.
fishing, giving them fish.
Don't give them fish. Teach them how to fish. Absolutely.
Okay, all right. This one is about welfare system destroyed.
Partly because of the general rule that welfare is cut off if there is a man in the house, fathers are often driven away so that mother and children can eat.
85% of the head of household is a woman, because most of the men who should be in the household, they cannot make a decent living. And of course it is better to know that a child will be fed 12 months out of the year than 3 months, which you do in the summer when construction work you can make a decent living.
The man in the house rule was written to prevent welfare cheating, to make sure that aid to families with dependent children would go only to families headed by mothers. But the effect of the man in the house rule is to create for children an atmosphere of investigation and surveillance, and thus the welfare system in its operation turns out to be a system to make life harder for children.
The welfare system helps the disintegration of the American family. It offers money to families if the fathers will leave them and stay away, in that sense undoing the very stability of the family and taking away one of the two parents that children, of course, need. And what I have seen, I'm afraid to say, all over the country is that the legal system works against the best kind of home for these children. We don't encourage parents to be at home with the children. We don't encourage mothers to feel that they can find their destiny as mothers. We take away, in many of the most vulnerable homes, fathers from those homes. We herd foster children together in institutions rather than trying to find decent homes for them. We don't tap the resources we have in communities and with respect to older people so that they can help out vulnerable homes. We don't sanction and encourage and support in every way, morally, psychologically, and financially, the dignity and integrity of the home. And in the worst of it is that the homes that are most vulnerable are the homes that are least supported by the policies of local, state, and federal governments. And no wonder then, out of these more vulnerable neighborhoods, we get an endless cycle of troubled, delinquent, wayward youth who grow up even more and become the lawbreakers of our society. Now, I don't know how you break this cycle except by starting out with young children.
And I agree. Anything that needs to happen, that's going to happen. If we want it to happen, it has to start with the young children. It can't start from the adults. We're going to answer this question, these questions actually right quick. Why not just make it that so that single parents don't get preferential treatment, but that if you're poor, you'll get it. That's a multi-tiered. Not multi-tiered, but it's a couple answers to that. We got to look at. There's a system that's think they're doing good for the kids. They think they're doing the best for the kids and mothers by giving to these single mothers to do whatever. Then there's a system here, the government part of it, that runs this, that understands that there's a certain thing that happens when you do this. You push the fathers out the household. They know they're going to be supplied with labor, free labor. Back when they did Jim Crow and all that other stuff, they realized that we can't enslave them legally, but we can put them behind bars and we can still get the free labor we used to get during slavery. So creating this cycle, creating the mothers raising children, raising boys, would create a system where the guy was just saying, you know, criminals or whatever. And those people the criminals go to jail. They give free labor to fund this country, to do whatever this country need them to do. Furniture, what they used to do also.
I just remember license plates.
Yeah, license plates. They used to do well, somebody need to do license plates. I think it's done by machine now. But yeah, back in the day, it was license plates, but they did furniture, did all kind of other stuff. Like I said, there are different people different entities that if we look from each one, we'll see something totally different. Even the fact with when he was saying about the fathers get out of the household, we didn't even think about this, nor did we see anybody say that as soon as your young man turned 18, hey, he had to go too, because he's considered a man. So about the pushing the kids out the household at 18, that's sort of what that happened too, because he's a man now, so he got to go. So he got to find something to do. Right, so what he's gonna do? Become a criminal.
Become wayward.
Yeah, a wayward youth. Has it changed since then?
Are you talking about the requirements?
I don't know. I don't know
sure what it is.
Yeah, I think you're talking about having fathers in the household. Yeah, in terms of requirements. Yeah, you say in terms of requirements.
Okay.
I can't answer that.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't think so. I don't think you can. I guess, as a family, if you only make so much money, I guess maybe you can still qualify.
Yeah,
I really don't.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know the answer. I have to look that up. I've never thought of that. But yeah, back in the day, this set up the foundation for the black family we have today.
Mm-hmm.
This set up the foundation. This is why most black women, you ask them the question about what happened to black men in the household, they left. And that's all it is. Black men left their family.
Yeah, they don't have a description as to why or anything like that. It's just, they left. Gotcha.
So it translates to them that black men are no good. Black men left their family, and by comparison to other races, we ain't shit, because that's what happened. But majority of the people back then were poor black people. It wasn't no well-to-do black folks back then, like talking about it. And there are white people on there too, but it's totally different. Like I said, when the white people catch the cold, the black folks catch the flu. So what that was saying was the black family, the welfare, destroyed the black family. That's what that was about. Destroyed the family structure. And we're gonna go in this one. This sister, she's gonna kind of give you a little bit more context of what was going on back then.
If the parent is 17 and 18, uneducated, unmotivated, fooling around, wandering around, what's the child gonna learn? Who's to teach him? When you learn something, you was taught by your parents. It was reinforced by school and your neighbors, but it was taught by your parents. Your parents said, Bill, you better not do that. Don't put that plug over there. You're going to get hurt, a whipping, right? Your parents did it. Well, if the parents don't know anything, how are they going to teach the children? Now, if we have a generation of that kind of thing happening and the kids are coming up under that, then we got another generation of lost young people.
Why are there so many single-parent households?
Have you been walking the streets in Newark lately? All our young men are out on the corner, just absolutely doing nothing. That's the problem.
Why? What's happened to those young men? What's happened to the black man?
It's like they've given up. It's like they're really not a part of what's going on.
Why are they not? Why have they given up?
There aren't that many jobs, for the laborer like there used to be. And they're just totally unmotivated. And society has made living for the women without the husband or without the male easy.
Oh?
Yeah, welfare. I think welfare is not the best thing for everybody.
Tell me why.
Because it provides you with some kind of income that you sooner or later just settle for. I know I was on welfare. I've been on welfare.
Are you suggesting that we do away with welfare?
No, I'm saying it has to be upgraded. For instance, I have some young people here that are on welfare, but would like to work. But they can't work and make a coin because everything you make is taken away from your check.
Can you push the solution even further back? Is there any way to stop the cycle of teenage pregnancies?
That's so difficult to even talk about. In my heart, I think I have a solution, and I know now it may rub people the wrong way. But I believe that teenage pregnancy cannot be stopped by programs. It has to be morals, and morals come from God. And somewhere along the line, the black family kind of strayed away from that. And I believe we need it.
You say the moral values have changed.
Oh, yes. It's morally acceptable to have babies. It was not morally acceptable years ago. That's hurting the black family.
What I hear you saying is that even though racism may have brought about these circumstances, even though society may have created conditions that are terrible, you're saying you have to be responsible. You have to practice discipline and self-restraint.
That's right. We are destroying ourselves. Now, it might have been motivated and plotted and seeded with racism, but we're content to be in this well now, okay? We're just content to be in this mud, and we need to get out of it. There aren't any great white people running around in this block tearing up stuff. It's us. We've got to stop doing that.
Does the civil rights movement, which came to its peak in the 60s, have anything to say to this?
The civil rights to the young people now is a foreign word. What does it really mean to them? They don't have any knowledge about it.
The issue now is different, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I'm quite sure it is. If Martin Luther King were alive, he would not be talking about the things I think he was talking about, labor and all that. I think he'd be talking about the black family.
And you're worried about the survival of the black family. You think it's precarious?
I think it's going to be an endangered species.
Even though the messages that kids are getting from society seems to say, do anything you want to, the United States government of New Jersey, a white man like Moyers cannot step in and say to young black kids, it's not right to have children out of wedlock. Welfare needs to be changed. You've got to take responsibility. Who's going to say these things to these kids?
Why can't you say it?
They won't listen to me.
Doesn't make any difference. You got to say it anyway. They may not listen to me either. But I'm saying if you say it in your corner and I say it in my corner and everybody is saying it, it's going to be like a drum beat. And sooner or later it will sound. But it's not just for me to talk about. It's for all of us to talk about. And I think it's going to surpass colors. And you're not going to be safe, I'm not going to be safe, and nobody's going to be safe unless we all send out this drumbeat. Hey, let's deal with it. Let's deal with the problem.
Okay, so I want to, first of all, the video with the other lady, the older lady, back when he was talking about teenage mothers a couple of clips ago, that I forgot to tell you, that was Perry Holmes. That was Atlanta.
Oh, really?
That was Perry Holmes, yeah. And this is right here. This lady, she's in Newark. The thing that she said, and I've had discussions with women. I'm always having discussions with women about the state of America and black families and everything else, and teenage pregnancy and all that stuff. The reason why I say that we're in a situation also is, like that lady said, it's the lack of morals and values we have in our community. Like at some point we stop preaching to the kids or preaching to the young girls that, hey, you know, you need to be married before you have that baby. You need to make sure this man marry you. You know, you have all the responsibility of what happens to your body. You know, it's a gift and a curse type of that thing. Yeah, you get all the attention you want, but and men give you attention. But the thing is, you have to be responsible for what you do with your body. And not saying the men are not responsible, right? Because the men are responsible for where they put their seed. I've had a whole argument about this on social media. The men are responsible to put their seed, but he cannot impregnate a woman without her consent. If he does, there's a place for him. Mm-hmm. And even after she gets pregnant, he has no say so what's going on in either. So. Right. A woman has 100% of control over what happens to her body, and if a baby comes in this world. A man only a certain portion. He have that good feeling for 2 minutes or whatever it be, right. However long he go with it, and then after that, he has that control. What he does, we see. But yeah, what you got from that?
Well, you can put it on morals or my thing is, very simple. Just go back to the logic. We know that raising children is not easy, especially when you don't have any means of support as far as you have no skills, you have no education, you have, you're still a child pretty much yourself. What they were talking about. So let's make it serious. For some reason we made childbirth a very light thing where it's just it's real. You're bringing another human being into this world to hopefully be a able citizen of society, but in so many cases they're not, because of the circumstances that they're growing up in. It's a show I look at on YouTube, and he just goes around and interviews different people, prostitutes, child molesters, just whoever out on Skid Row.
Atlanta. Down here, Atlanta.
He's out in California. Well, he travels. I think he has come to Atlanta.
Okay, but probably black guy.
It was a white guy.
Oh no, okay, different.
But when he's doing the interviews, when he asks these people about their childhood, they're all very similar as far as there was some sort of, if it was abandonment, abuse. It's just like I said, children are not being kept safe. They're not being placed in the proper covenant at birth. It turns into a cycle that just keeps happening. But I think we need to make childbirth a real, a serious thing, and we take it way too light. We probably think more about what kind of clothes we're gonna wear tomorrow than some people think about having kids, or what kind of car they're gonna buy, what kind of house, versus bringing a whole human being into the world. So we treat it way too trivial to me.
We're too aloof with that. It's like accessory, and that's what a lot of females.
That's what it seems like, and it's like, oh well, I had this baby, then I go back to. And I'm thinking it's a child, it's a person. So, but yeah, it's, and if you want to put that on morals, that's fine. Whatever, I don't care what you put on. Whatever makes people pay attention to it.
Pay attention. But we weren't. When we had a stronger moral value in the black community, we didn't have a lot of that going on.
We didn't, because what they always say when you hear about some old crazy crime, a serial killer, something, well, ain't nobody black, because at one point, it's just certain things that they used to say black people just didn't do.
Yeah.
Now we do it all. We do it all.
Hey.
Yeah. But my
we just hope they don't be black at this point.
Please don't be black.
Please don't be black.
But my point is that these children are coming from these broken homes, and that is just a cycle. If we can start to fix the home, I think so many of these problems will just go away. Actually,
but you have to make sure that you have the 2-parent home though, in order to fix the home. So like I say, it's a self-perpetuating problem, because
it's right.
You
it's
have to have
another egg. It's tough, man. It's tough, but we gotta, whatever's gonna bring people back to where, childbirth is a real thing and it means something. That's what we need. But unfortunately, I think it becomes more and more trivial as we go. Now, what they tell you, we don't need no man.
Yeah,
and they don't. They can go and pick out whatever sperm they want. Like, yeah, this one right here got long hair, and oh yeah, I want that one.
But and think about this too. They get attention. Social media get attention. So it's a feeling based thing where they're making decisions, long-term decisions based on the feeling that they want to be viewed a certain way,
based on a fleeting feeling.
Fleeting feeling, yes.
Very, very short term, and but you got some long-term consequences that come with it.
And with that last video that we went to 1986. That was 1986. That's 1986. Now we're going to hear from the scholars in 1986, and this is the one I was telling you about with Jesse Jackson. This one with a couple of scholars.
You gonna be rhyming?
Nah, we ain't gonna do that. Not that Jesse. Not that Jesse. This is
the early version.
Yeah.
Dr. Knox, you heard in the beginning of the broadcast some of the young women say male figures are not essential. They don't think their children need a father. Did that ring true to you on the basis of your experience with these kids?
I think that a family means a husband and a wife. Yeah. So I'm very, very perplexed, to hear females say that they don't believe that they need to have a man around.
I think people say what they have to say. These women don't have any prospect of marriage, and so they have rationalized their lives the way they see them. We saw women who are surrounded by other women in the prior generation who also had no husbands, and this has become, therefore, intergenerational and expectable, And thus they say what indeed turns out to be, at least for them, quite realistic.
That's one concern. Secondly, there are some areas in there of moral degeneracy. The young man with all of the babies without any sense of responsibility, that is moral degeneracy. And it's not genetic, it's environmental. And therefore we have some obligation to speak of the need for moral regeneration.
So,
just sound like he believed what he was saying.
I think that was a just that started out that wanted to help.
That's the one who he started out with a good, pure heart.
Pure heart, yeah.
It's environmental.
So we heard that, the whole thing, and the degeneracy with he was talking about your man from 2 weeks ago. He's talking about your man that didn't know his children's name. Let me see.
Yeah.
I think he's about 6 years old. Yeah.
Have fun making it.
What do you feel about the women? No, the children. Oh, damn. Oh, them little crumb snatchers.
them byproducts.
I just had a good time, man. You know how
just
that
had
is.
a good time, man. You know.
But, they it's like the dude said. I mean, the young ladies, that's when it started. We don't need a man.
Yeah.
I showed that too. Didn't I show that 2 weeks ago where the young ladies were sitting around?
Yeah,
they was like, "Oh, we don't need a man around." And that's somebody to take care of.
They were very adamant and sure of themselves that they didn't. It wasn't any doubt in their head when they were saying that whether or not they needed a man. So it was like ingrained. They know it. Oh,
and they weren't grown, so they got that from looking at their mother.
They weren't grown, and they were with multiple kids.
Multiple kids, yeah.
So, they feel like they had life figured out. Yeah. Oh, men? Nah. Lead them over there.
That's too much problems. Men are problems.
Lead them where they at.
The start of this single motherhood that we still hear today.
Oh, it ain't going nowhere either, man.
Yeah.
God, dog. It could. I mean, I'm gonna put it on the men, though. I'm gonna put it on the men. Man up, man.
Okay, how you go?
I'm gonna put on the condom. That's all I got to say.
Yeah. No, most definitely.
That's all I got to say.
But I'm saying the mindset. I'm talking about the mindset of, I don't need a man, and I don't need a man, but yet you're gonna go out there and demand things from men, or you want to go.
I think the world is gonna show that you do need a man, because now, like I said, this far in technology, we at a point where you can kind of say that, and I almost mean it, because the world that men built is so civilized that you don't have to really worry about much. Short of a pandemic, and
when things fail,
because things will. This won't be the last time. So there will be failure in the future, and each time we never saw it coming. Is always greater than it was before. Yeah. So, the role of the man will show back up. And if not, you'll perish behind it. So
you're gonna pay, and your views are gonna be put to the test.
Right.
Greatly. Ukraine, just look at what happened in Ukraine with the war. Let me get off topic. Anyway, next video.
Now let's take three specific issues that were raised by the film, and we'll start with welfare. Charles Murray, in his book Losing Ground, called for scrapping the entire federal welfare and income support structure for people who can work. ADFC, Medicaid, food stamps, subsidized housing, and so on. He says this would leave the working age person with no recourse whatsoever except the job market, family members, friends, and public or private locally funded sources. Do away with it altogether. Force people to look for help from their peers and from whatever sources are nearby. And you saw in the film that one mother said, welfare makes me lazy. You heard Shahid Jackson, your compatriot, say that it's become a way of life for many men over there. What do you think about welfare as a specific factor in this problem? Director Knox?
Well, I don't think we should do away with it. I think some people need it. I don't think that we should allow it to be a self-perpetuating institution, though. What happens is there's no steps taken to provide any incentive for people to get off of it. The result is you end up with people who are hopeless, who feel that that's the easy way out, and particularly in my profession, it creates a real problem for me.
How come?
Because I find that some of the kids that you saw in those films, guys like the slick one who walks around and he makes all these babies and he has no sense of responsibility, is the same stick-up guy that I have to arrest every day. See, not only is the impact on me, but the impacts on everyone else in our community. And the result is that we don't have any place to put these guys, and I'm a firm believer that some of them are unsalvageable. You know, as much as I feel,
like Shahid said,
that's right. As much as I feel compassion, you know, for trying to salvage kids that can be salvaged, you know, by providing another alternative for them except for this crime and stuff, I believe that some of them are unsalvageable. And I based that on 21 years of police experience.
You put your pencil down on the table when he said that. Were you disagreeing or agreeing with him? Are we going to have to give up on some of these and try for the next generation?
Well, I hate to say we have to give up, but I agree that we are sometimes confronted with individuals whose behavior compels of us as a pragmatic and moral matter that they be dealt with accordingly. And people who are violently brutalizing their primarily black neighbors in the central cities of this country, it seems to me, warrant that kind of response.
We'll come back on that point in just 1 minute after this message.
Not this time.
So, but
no, I kind of agree with the whole about getting rid of the welfare system altogether. I just, you know, the problem with the few solutions that are left is it's going to leave such scorched earth to do what needs to be done. Nobody's willing to go through that. So it's, you know, that's, I don't know what you got there, brother.
He was asking were they pro-crime bill. I have no clue if they were pro-crime bill, but I know that why remove it just changed the requirements.
Well, the reason I say remove it is because I truly believe when you give people things that human nature is so compelled to take the path of least resistance.
Yeah.
So for some people, you like, this ain't enough. You know, I'm willing to go out there and get it. But for others, you're gonna have a group of people who are gonna be like, this is, you know, if they're gonna give this to me, I'll do whatever it takes to. If that means hustling, you know, after hours, so I don't have to, you know, show an income or whatever. But they're willing to take that, and you're gonna always have somebody who takes advantage of the system, and it has nothing to do with race, class, or economic status, because it happens throughout the what you call the structure of society. But I just know that just when you're born on this earth, for the most part, you are inspired to just be who you are and go out and live life, versus when somebody starts to, it's almost like education. When somebody starts to tell you everything and you no longer think for yourself, then you lose your desire to go beyond yourself.
To look further.
You don't grow.
To look further, try to seek knowledge your own self.
Right. And that's why I say get rid of it altogether. Yeah. But
and I agree with you. Like it's going to be a time where, I like the way you put it, scorched earth. It's going to be a scorched earth period, but the products of that scorched earth period will be so much stronger.
Oh, yeah.
And I know it's hard to be somebody in that situation, but eventually, as human beings, we've lasted throughout. You know,
worse.
We've lasted through worse as human beings, and we're still here. So think about 400 years of slavery. You know, black people have went through that, and we still have black people here that are products of slave. Yeah. So I think, like you said, people got to the point they want to be comfortable, and they don't understand that you need to be doing work. It's not going to be mainly for you, but it's going to be for your offsprings.
For your family, for the future generations is what you're working for. But we got so self-centered in society today, where everything I do is just for my personal benefit and my personal outcome. Then, you know, generation be damned. You know, y'all better catch up. You know, so
you got people right now. Now this is my whole thing that I've been talking about for the last maybe few weeks is that right now, like you said, people are so self-centered. You look on social media, you got, you know, people, I'm not going to say women, you got people that's focused on going travel and do this other stuff that's not even putting money towards anything for their future generation. So we're going to see in about 10 years, we're about to hit 50. We're hitting our 50. In 10 years, in 10 or 15 years, we're going to see people that they're not going to be able to live. They're going to be homeless, an influx of homeless people.
It's going to be high high numbers.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's gonna be majority.
It's gonna be epidemic.
Yeah.
Status.
It is. It's gonna be another like pandemic type situation where you're gonna have, right now, different cities. You see the skyrocketing housing markets. You see the skyrocketing rent and everything. Human beings that have been comfortable all these years, we're talking about since the 60s, 70s, are not going to be able to just jump on and just just do it.
It's going to get bad.
Yeah. So this is one of the things I think that is the unintended consequence of the welfare. And then now fast forward to now, these PPP loans and all this money they've been giving people that they got laxed and now they got going to jobs and stuff.
Yeah.
This is going to have another ripple effect into the next couple generations. And we need to be mindful that the things we do does affect further down the line.
And it has, I think it has a much stronger effect than the initial effect. Like the things we're doing now, we don't even feel the true effects of it for years to come. And I think that's one of the reasons we still are behind, because we don't see the true effects of what we did until years later.
Just like the presidency, when you see a president do something, you don't see the real effects after he's out of office. Then you're like, oh, this president. No, that's the no.
That was not bad that he did that. Yeah. Yep, absolutely.
But let's see. This is the final clip, and they're gonna take us out with the and it's the video of this one is called "A Vanishing Black Family."
There is a study at the University of Chicago that says if action is not taken, the year 2000, 14 years from now, we'll see 70% of all black families headed by single women and only 30% of black men employed.
So see, and this was in 86. This was a projection in 86. We see the black women, the black single families headed by women over 70%.
Yeah, it's like 80, 85 or something like that.
80-ish%. But the men, the thing they said about men, 30% of the workforce, that didn't happen. So
we was shiftless.
We some worthless.
They ain't gonna do
sapsuckers. But that's the projection. And I wish I had queued up Daniel Patrick Moynihan, which was in 65. He said the same thing would happen if you give the black people money, black poor people, if you put it in the household, gave the mothers money, that it would create a situation to where the fathers wouldn't be there. It would create a situation further on down the line. If you look up Daniel Patrick Moynihan, which he became senator later on in life, and it's called the Moynihan Report. Look that up and read about what he said. And it was all about the black family. That's what it's about. And there's people that's been blowing the whistle like this is gonna happen. This is gonna happen. And no, that's not. Oh, shut the hell up. Shut up.
Nobody pay attention.
Nobody want to pay attention.
Because I think for the most part, because we live in such a, I don't want to say isolated, especially then without the internet. But you only could go by what you saw around you. And if you didn't see it directly in your face, you just assume everybody lives this way. This is how everybody, then you see something on the news, you're like, oh man, poor people. But in reality, that's a bigger thing than what people realized it was. But we saw it so rarely, because that was before the news was super sensationalized and they went across the country to pull news. You assumed everybody was living the way you were living, or or people were like-minded, and that's not the case at all. Because like I said, just looking at these videos opened my eyes. You're talking about from the late 60s, and these young ladies was like, averaging, I guess, between 14 and 17 having these babies, and I thought that was a new age thing, from the last 20 years, but obviously it wasn't. And
the thing is, you ask your parents, they perceive that it wasn't. It's worse now, but it's been going on.
I don't know how worse it is, but yeah, it's been going on.
It's been going on, yeah.
It's been going on because now when all the skeletons come out the closet for people up in their 60s and 70s, now you hear about, oh yeah, that's really so and so's mother and not her sister,
not her sister,
or not her aunt, So it's and I think that's a whole nother psychological issue that we need to deal with, man.
Keeping secrets and all that stuff, and once again, when you have lies happening, you don't grow. I mean, you're
don't.
basing everything you do on these lies that were told to you.
Somebody's told me, it's nothing worse in the world than a thief.
Mhm.
And a liar is a thief of the truth. So
Mhm.
it's nothing,
True,
and
true.
that's real. Like you said, you don't grow. They lies stifle. They hold you back from being able to move forward. So that's real. That's deep, brother.
Yeah. So and
That's ocean deep.
Ocean. But that's why these series I'm doing, Sankofa, that word Sankofa, right?
Looking back.
We looking back in the past to try to make a better future. Back to what the brother was asking about CRT. That's the reason why I believe that needs to happen, because until you stand on that truth and create a strong foundation to where people understand what really happened across the board, right? Then now we can grow. Now we can understand even the white people, right? White people need to understand that they were bamboozled too, like by the government. The government did this to both sides.
I'm telling you that it is. If you, I'm caught up in the rat race. I ain't gonna lie. But if you ever get free time and just look at the social engineering that took place in the 50s, 60s, 70s, really, I think the whistle started getting blown around the 80s or sometime, and a lot of it they had done away with them. But it was a lot of social programming going on, social experiments that took place in our country, probably all over the world. But I can only speak on America. It's crazy. So yeah, a large portion of us have been, led astray big time. Like just outright lied to and pointed in the wrong direction on purpose. So but like I said, when you know better, then you can better prepare yourself for battle. So, but that takes time and effort to go back and to look into things like that. And then you have to know that it even happened.
A lot of people don't even know it happened.
You very rarely just stumble on something like that. Somebody has to expose you to it, and then you can start to look into it a little deeper, because it's like a game of telephone. When somebody tell you who got it from somebody else, who got it from, it's gonna be some shit that's wrong. It's gonna be some
missing information.
Yeah, so you need to go up and find it for yourself once you get the general idea of what took place. But yeah, white people definitely, they got bamboo. I mean, it wasn't even a race thing, but it's like you say, things hit the black community so much harder than it does everyone else because of the way we're structured. Without the fathers in the household, without a man can, our logic is undeniable. We can read through some bullshit for the most part, but a lot of women or naive males who hadn't had that nurturing, or I'm gonna call it nurturing from their father, but that tutelage to teach them how to spot bullshit, use your common sense. They can easily be led astray or bamboozled. So it's that's what I say. Our family structure has a lot to do with why we suffer so much more than other races when it comes to the same problem, pretty much. So.
Yeah. What you're saying and what I'm talking about is that the lies they were telling, being structured like the woman at the top, they're being able to tell beautiful lies and believe it and go about as everything is okay until it's not. And nowadays what we got is like, if a man comes to tell, like me speaking to women about certain things, you shouldn't be talking that, you shouldn't be doing that, right? But the thing is that we can't put ourselves in a place that we're not listening to everybody else around us. We're not listening to people that's telling us stuff for our own betterment. You're not gonna like how growth, somebody telling you something to grow. You're not gonna like that.
Right.
It's like children. Children don't like to, learn to eat. If they don't want to hear to eat their vegetables, they don't want to hear to go to bed on time. They don't hear, you're not gonna like that, but it's good for you.
It's like anything. It's like medicine. It's like training your body, like working out. It's like anything else. It's hard, but it's gonna make you better and stronger in the long run. But it don't feel, especially when you get first started, it don't feel good. Taking that medicine, it ain't good going down, but it's gonna make you better in the long run. So you are exactly right.
So I just wanted to point out what happened in the welfare system and how it affected us today, and we still see it. All the links for these videos, if you look in the description, all the links, I put all the links for this video for Hezekiah News. I want to shout out to I told you about her before, Crimson Cure, right? She did something today, and it pointed out to what you were talking about. So the experiments they did in 1950.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to go this about because we're going to get on a tangent about it.
Okay.
But it's experiment in 1950, and I was like blown away. Like this shit happened in 1950. It's like something that we're dealing with today in large.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on in 1915 was the start of what we see going on today. And I'm like, wow, like we've been in this country, the government has did a lot of stuff, and it set us on whole type of paths that, you know, we're doomed until we start like talking to each other and getting together and just
Sharing
saying, you know,
information.
sharing information, saying, you know what,
Yeah, but
we're not gonna be controlled no more.
I think that's the nature of men in power anyway. But we've been studied heavily, and we've been studied right now, and we'll see the effects of this in another 20 or 30 years. But we've been studied like crazy for years now. So you'll be surprised at the amount of information that our government has on human behavior and how to
manipulate,
how to manipulate you to follow along with certain. You know, I know everybody. You know, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but if you saw how people conform over the last 2 years to all these different guidelines, and very few really asked any question, they just did it because the man on TV said so, or because, you know, and that was all it took. But they understand how to move masses of individuals. Now you had your little small 15% go against it, but 15% don't even come close to 85%. You know, the 85% is always going to win. You know, unless somehow the 15% has more resources, on which they don't. You know, it just doesn't happen that way in America. It's more deep,
yeah. Anyway, this is where we're at this week with welfare. That's going to be the end of our little welfare thing.
The revolt,
yeah. Next, I think want to go into the school system, like the prison to prison,
preschool to prison.
I don't know. I think I want to go into that. It might hit something else because we didn't, that whole feminist movement thing, I didn't beat that, you know, to death. I'm not even gonna go back on that.
It's so hard to get away from it because it's kind of integrated in so much of what happens. If it's not a part of it, it's kind of like a little leg that kind of
branch.
They kind of forced a couple of things into place. You know,
if I don't know, maybe we can do a little something where we have women on to talk about the feminist movement.
Yeah, and see where, you know, why they feel that way, because I'm willing to bet it has a lot to do with their upbringing as far as the household they were in and things like that. Then of course school now.
School propaganda and everything.
Yes, sir. And I'm not talking about just elementary and high school. A lot of these colleges are worse off, and you paying big dollars to go. I mean, you pay for your public school system too, but college is a whole nother level of money coming out of your pocket. So
like I said, we'll come back and we'll be looking at some other videos, looking back to try to see what we can gather from that information and see if we can do something better for the future. I mean, if you don't have the information, you're going to keep doing the same stuff. So that's the path I'm going on. Like I said, I'm going to just like, share this, subscribe to Black Male Podcast on YouTube.
Black Male.
I'm gonna put the banner that I made for Thursday on YouTube, and I'm gonna put it on Facebook too. If you're if you're on part of Black Male Podcast on Facebook,
send me that info.
And I'll send you the info.
I want to call in and cuss.
That's that bull. But anyway, I appreciate y'all coming through. I appreciate the comments and the interactions over there on Twitch. Anything else you got, brother?
I don't know, man. Happy Tuesday.
Yeah, happy Tuesday. Anyway, like I said, I appreciate y'all rocking with us.
What was that? What were we calling this one? The welfare. You said that the
welfare wasn't free.
It
wasn't free.
Welfare was not free.
We
still paying
a heavy price. We still paying.
Yeah, not just financially.
Anyway, we'll see y'all next week.
Good night.
All right, peace.